Framing is one of the most important elements of the focus model. It's very important to get started in the right way. Now I'd like to walk you through a few templates and the Better World Books case study to bring this to life. In major projects, you should always have a letter of agreement. In this letter of agreement, it'll specify the introduction to the project, the background on the company under study, which would include the key question and possibly some hypotheses, the workflow that includes timing of when the deliverables will be sent and presented to the client, as well as who should be in attendance at the meetings, and then basic administration if there's anything to do with expenses, travel, and fees. The Better World Books letter of agreement, you're welcome to take a look, and it gives you the details and a sample of how this particular project was framed up, with the project logistics, terms and conditions, the understanding of the issues, key questions, and proposed statement of work that essentially were the hypotheses to be tested, the project scope and logistics for the project, including timing of meetings and who would be in attendance, plus the terms of the project and the conditions, plus signatures. Really, all that boils down to a very good key question, as well as hypotheses for testing and identification of scope. When I mean scope, what's included in our analysis and what's out. Most projects will have a tendency to try to increase scope over the course of a project, and you have to watch out for that. So explicitly documenting is something that consulting firms do really well, and you should as well. For our project, recruiting and personnel selection, cast management, the primary research and secondary research that we did, as well as developing a model for data collection and analytics for the scale-up is all in scope. But out of scope were things like operational issues or the actual selection of books and prices. We also weren't going to do a pilot test of the buyback here at UNC, but we would support different implementation ideas of how they might go about doing that elsewhere. The next template I'd like to introduce is the frame process. This explicitly lays out the beginning of your journey. You have a key question. You would lay out your information in some sort of MISI buckets, mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive, and organize your information as a team. You can split that up as you're reading basic reports, have a couple meetings. You can do it in Word or Excel. It doesn't have to be too complicated, but make sure you have a good understanding of what's going on to understand what information you have, and later you'll be identifying what information you need. The information you need will be the information that tests your hypotheses. Once you finish your information tree and identify exactly what you know, you move to the hypothesis stage where you start to develop 3 or more hypotheses that you'll then test as part of the organize. So that's essentially what framing does. Here's the frame process for Better World Books. How do we scale up the P2P, person-to-person buyback program? We had information about the company, customers, suppliers, and macro forces, and all of that was relevant to get up to speed on what this project would be. And then we came up with 3 hypotheses as a team. You need to free up cash, hire personnel, and implement quickly.